Quick, Ryan, the theme song started. Quick. Nice song, right?
Very nice song.
Let's get that right there. How are your headphones?
They're good. Oh, wow. Look at that. Nice.
Crowd's happy to have you here.
Great audience so far.
They're always a loving, great audience. Now laugh, everybody. Yeah. It's long.
Yeah, well, you know, you gotta build up something.
You gotta settle into it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Another Saturday. I got my two-tone grout fit on.
Yeah.
And we're very happy to have Mr. Ryan Davies in the studio. Ryan,
Thank you for having me.
welcome. This is gonna be fun. You ever been on a podcast before?
I have. This is my second podcast appearance.
Okay, wait. So what was the first podcast?
The
appearance?
first was it was called A Pod Named Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
It was hosted by two of my good friends in college, Kaylee Newman and Ben Kessler, and it was all about Scooby-Doo
Nice.
in various incarnations. And I was a guest on one of the earlier episodes where we discussed Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed.
The movie.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
the live action one.
the live action ones, yeah. But they went across all different types of Scoobies. Unfortunately, the podcast is no longer going, but there's a lot of, new Scooby-Doo on the horizon.
Yeah,
so
right. I keep seeing. Well, okay. So what's your favorite Scooby-Doo?
That's a tough one.
Wow.
But, I mean, Scooby-Doo, those two live action
You
movies.
like the live action
Those were pretty. I mean, I watched the cartoons and everything growing up,
Yeah.
like all different incarnations, and I still dabble in the Scooby-Doo. But those were so like.
Yeah.
I mean, the cast of that. I mean, Matthew
Lillard.
like
Oh my
Linda
God.
Cardellini, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Freddie Prinze.
God.
Like, I remember like very young watching it. And my dad explained to me that Sarah Michelle and Freddie Prinze were married, and me just thinking like, whoa, the magic of the cinema.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, man. Those movies have like a weird. Those are pretty ingrained in my brain too. I remember watching those on like in the back of a car. On
Yeah,
DVD.
the DVD. It was like a green spine. Still have it to this day.
Nice.
Collecting dust on my shelf, I'm sure.
Gosh, yeah, Linda Cardellini as Velma in there.
Yeah.
Wow. And man, you watch any of the new? You watch the what's it, Velma, the adult?
I have started it twice.
Okay.
And I didn't hate it. I know it was people didn't seem to be a fan of it, but it was also one of those ones where it's still like in my queue on Max, but I've yet to venture further.
I think personally I'm a little thrown off by just the concept of like Scooby-Doo for adults, you know?
Well, they're doing they're gonna do like a live action one
and it's gonna be like adult centered.
I don't know if it's gonna be adult centered. I think it's gonna just be a little more grounded in some realism.
It's just I guess that's a little strange to me.
Yeah.
You know?
But I also think it's it's such myth at this point that there can be different interpretations of it, and artists can do their own kind of spin on it.
And we're never gonna stop. If it's an IP that keeps making money, right? We're never going to stop.
It's all about IP, baby. That's the name of the game.
Yes, and that's why you have that's a great take. The audience loved that take. And I think, you might be, so you're the second Ryan that's been on the show.
Wow.
I like to do that. I like to, find links. But I think with maybe one or two exceptions, I might know you the least of any guest that's been on this show, which is exciting.
Very
for
exciting.
Me, because you're not a Michigan person.
I am not.
Most of the people that come on the show are Michigan people. And I'm trying to expand the show.
Yeah.
You said you watched the Paul Monteleone episode.
I did.
Friend of yours. And we're trying to go broader. But I do want to get into your life story, but we do have a game at the end, a fun segment that I've planned.
I'm looking forward to it.
And I do want to cover news of the week this week is basically going to just be an in memoriam segment.
Yeah.
And this is it's not gonna come out for like 2 weeks now, so it's gonna be a little late. But before we get to the one that we talked about before, I saw you wear this Grateful Dead shirt.
It's actually a Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shirt. Yeah,
I mistook it.
But I think I've gotten Grateful Dead before,
stylized,
so it's
right?
I think it's meant to be all things.
Well, and are you a basketball fan at all?
Not really.
I didn't think so. We won't have to. We don't spend. I try not to talk about sports too much because once I start, I won't be able to shut myself up. But the the in memoriam a few weeks ago, Bill Walton was like just a guy that I idolized because he was like this basketball legend, but he was also just like this like hippie, and in the 60s and 70s was like this huge anti-war activist, and then eventually just like went on tour with Grateful Dead and was just this really cool guy. And we lost Jerry West too, who was just a legend and a staple. And then man, just yesterday, 2 days ago now,
I think it was 2
days ago from the time of record, the great Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, tragic.
And we wanted to just talk about Donald Sutherland a little bit.
What a man.
Top, dude. What a career that guy had.
I was in preparation of this because I did request this as one of the topics.
Yeah.
I was going through his IMDb just to see like the things I'd seen him in. He's been in a lot of movies that are good that I actually haven't seen.
Yeah.
Ashamed to say, but like obviously President Snow. I think our generation probably mostly knows him from that.
For sure.
But another one was The Italian Job.
Okay, I've never seen it, but I've heard so much about it.
Oh yeah, I mean it was kind of like a discount Ocean's 11
Okay.
shortly before, but still great movie, great cast. Mark Wahlberg, Charlize.
Okay, and
Edward Norton.
What is he in that?
He plays Charlize Theron's dad.
Okay, cool.
And sort of the leader of the heist. Mark Wahlberg is his protege.
Okay, nice. Okay, I'm gonna add Italian Job to the list. What's your favorite? What's like Donald Sutherland? Like President Snow's tough to.
President Snow's tough. I don't know. He's just one of those actors that is always seen things. He was in The Undoing a couple years ago where he played Nicole Kidman's dad.
Yeah.
And he's just very across all genres, very distinct.
Every time you see him, it's like
father of Kiefer.
Yes.
I mean, gave us Kiefer Sutherland,
on,
so his legacy will live on in that. But I mean, a nice showbiz family, a man of a real character actor.
Gosh, and President Snow's such a cool one because like he is such a bad guy, but he's like it's such like a grounded, so cool. And my personal favorite. Have you ever seen Kelly's Heroes?
I have not.
Kelly's Heroes is this. It was my dad used to talk to me about it at dinner, like growing up every day. I'd be like, "Whatever, Dad. Like old movie. Want to check it out?" And then I actually got into old movies. Yeah. Eventually, and so I watched it with my dad like a year ago, and it's like this. It's a World War II movie that came out during Vietnam War, so it's like Vietnam War coded, where Clint Eastwood is the lead and he like plays it super straight, but it's like a comedy, and Don Rickles is like his left hand man.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's awesome.
Check this out.
And like Harry Dean Stanton's in it. And
another great character. Like that's the thing. Like Donald Sutherland, Harry Dean Stanton, those types of actors.
Every time you see him, you're like, let's fucking go. And they're like plotting to steal a bunch of Nazi gold during World War II, and Donald Sutherland is like this hippie tank commander, like 20 years before hippies were a thing, but he's just such a good part of that movie. And man, Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Bill Walton, Jerry West, man. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Crowd, we're all sad about that. We're all round of applause. Man, I'm gonna watch. You gotta let that one play out. I'm gonna watch The Italian Job. I think.
No,
it's
a solid one. It's very fun. Like one of those big studio kind of action movies with a really good cast. You don't see those too much anymore.
Man, cool. Well, I want to get us to how you got here on this couch. Yeah. And to do that, I usually like to go way back. All right. Way back. So where are you from, Ryan?
I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Virginia. Okay. Mm-hmm. Is Virginia the South?
So, Virginia's interesting because it is the northest of the South.
Okay.
So if you go to like Alabama, Atlanta or something and you say you're from Virginia, they basically think you're a Yankee.
You're basically a Yankee.
Yeah. But if you go up to DC or Maryland and you try to, assimilate with them, they're like go back to KFC, basically. Okay, yeah. Got it. So it's a weird kind of place, but I find, I don't think I have an accent, but.
No, I don't pick up a Southern drawl really.
Yeah. I went to school in Savannah briefly.
Oh, okay.
There were some real thick Southern accents there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And Richmond. So I got off a big Civil War kick recently.
Oh, wow.
And,
a lot of history.
Yeah, I'm very fascinated by Virginia just in general, and how do you feel Virginia pride?
I think it was a really interesting, like where I grew up was a very nice place because I was kind of.
And that was a loaded question. I didn't mean
Virginia obviously Virginia's done some some bad things.
But yeah, I'm curious.
But yeah, no, it was like
so much history.
It was a good place to grow up because I was in the suburbs, so I was kind of like 20 minutes from the city, 10 minutes from the country, so it was kind of good. in high school.
You get to see it all.
Yeah, go see show. Like, they have a lot of shows that come into town. It's become a very artsy kind of foodie city since I've left.
Okay.
So now anytime I go home, my mom's like talking about these places downtown that she goes.
Yeah,
and she's like, you haven't been? And she's like, well, I guess it did start 5 years ago, but
you were gone.
It's all the rage now. So
it's kind of trendy, I feel like. Richmond's kind of trendy.
It's kind of artsy, trendy. And, they got the river there. You're near the beach. It's
okay.
Yeah, it was a good place to grow up.
So it's close to the beach.
It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours to Virginia Beach, and then you got DC right there. So there's
always doing stuff.
Yeah.
And school, what was school? You go to public school?
I did.
Public school. What was that like down in Virginia?
I went to a very good public school. There are a lot of private schools, but the schools were nice. So very few people actually went to private school where I went.
Nice.
But Deep Run High School.
Yeah. Okay.
Shout out the Wildcats. We never utilized the High School Musical music in any of our pep rallies, and I thought that was such a missed opportunity.
Fumbled the ball there.
Because when the original High School Musical came out, my brother was at high school as a Wildcat, and of course he didn't want to embrace it.
Right. Because he's older than that.
Yeah, my brother's 7 years older than me, so he was like my brother's watching Disney Channel. But when our generation got to high school and we weren't ashamed of High School Musical, I thought it was a real missed opportunity.
And were you like, this is what high school should be? Like this could be us.
Yeah, I don't know if I aspired for high school. The country club pool thing, that would have been nice.
That would have been fun.
I would have enjoyed my summers in high school, like lifeguarding and partying. That would have been aspirational for sure.
And what were you like? What kind of kid were you? What were you doing, Ryan?
I was a theater kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was a theater kid. That was kind of my niche. I really liked drama class. That was kind of where I came. I was not. I mean, you went to Michigan, right?
Yes.
So yeah, smart. I liked school. But like math and science, they were not my jam. English history found very interesting, but the second it got a little bit more, I was kind of like but like theater, I really kind of came alive.
And you like being on stage?
Yeah, I liked being on stage. I liked writing. I did a lot of backstage stuff too. I kind of did it all.
So what were your productions?
Oh God, so many productions. So we did 2 shows a year. That was like
one musical,
one play.
Okay.
And we started with Thoroughly Modern Millie, and I was on the crew for that. Got mono my freshman year of high school. Very detrimental to your social life when it's your like second month of 9th grade. And I was out of school for like a month and a half.
I was gonna say you have to miss like a month. It was
so bad, yeah. But then I came back. I had gotten on the crew, and I was a freshman, and then I kind of came back and. All my other friends had kind of made other friends, but then I integrated myself. I got a leadership position. I was props manager as a freshman. That was quite the.
How'd you get that?
There was a junior who. I mean, this was the production of a bunch of medical emergencies. I guess there was a
you
junior
gave him
whose lung collapsed.
Wow.
And he ended up being fine. He came back for the spring play, but he unexpectedly had to go. And I had been shadowing him for a week, and he was like, he's the guy.
This kid, he's time to step up.
Serendipity.
Damn, and how big? Okay, so how big's your school?
It was pretty big. I think our graduating class was, it was probably like 900 kids.
Oh, damn.
Like that. It was pretty big high school.
That's quite
like
big,
there's still people like I have a couple close friends that I keep in touch with from senior year, and they'll be like, "Oh, I ran into so and so," and I'm like, "Who the hell is that?" And they're like, "They were in our English class," and I was like, "Probably," but there were 30 people in our English class, and if they weren't, they were on the other side. I
didn't know them. Yeah. Okay. Damn. Okay. So wait, what was the first one?
Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Thoroughly Modern Millie.
Yeah.
What is that?
It was a musical about a girl who came to New York in the 20s and kind of the flapper era, and she worked at a secretary typing agency or whatever. It was actually based on a movie starring Julie Andrews and Mary Tyler Moore in the 60s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then it went to Broadway, I guess, early 2000s, and then to Deep Run High School where it lived on.
Deep Run.
And then that year we did, for the play, was Midsummer Night's Dream.
Nice, a classic.
Classic. Yeah. Not a lot to do on crew there. There was like one major transition. We moved some tables in, and then we kind of just hung out backstage.
Yeah, chopped it up, talked shit. And do you like Shakespeare?
I took theater class all 4 years too, and we always did some form of Shakespeare. Yeah. So like I wasn't like a Shakespeare theater kid, but like I remember my senior year in AP English, we read Macbeth, and I quite enjoyed that.
Okay.
Because by that point I'd read enough of it that I could kind of understand it. But yeah, if you ask me now to decipher it, it all
whatever. Yeah, because I feel like because I never got into theater, and I always really liked writing.
But you do stand up, so
there's intersections everywhere.
Tons of intersections.
And every time, like we read Hamlet, we never read Macbeth, but we read Hamlet. We read Romeo and Juliet in English class.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet was the torturous one though, because I
kind of liked it.
Really?
I don't know what it was.
I think that's that's probably Shakespeare's most famous play.
Right.
I would think. But so it's kind of set up for you, like even like. elementary school, you kind of know what Romeo and Juliet is. So by the time I read it in 9th grade, I was like, this was what all the fuss was about.
They gashed this up.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, okay, obviously we know they died. Like, it just wasn't. There wasn't any sort of like
there's no twists for you.
Exactly, and so any of the other ones we read were interesting because they weren't as effective. They weren't as
you were
ingrained
really
in my
experiencing
mind.
it for the first time. That's interesting. Yeah, and you've seen like. You've watched some kind of modern take on Romeo and Juliet 8 times, probably without even realizing it was that. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, because I mean, the long monologues a little bit. You're like, whatever. Geez. But I think I remember really liking the Montague v.
Oh yeah,
I really like that dynamic. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it is like pretty remarkable because you do see Shakespeare in kind of every like all the feuding families. I mean, like I'm sure there were plays about feuding families before that, but that's kind of one of the earlier ones that sets the tone.
This is it. This is what it's always going to be forever. That's cool. Yeah. Okay. So Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yep. Sophomore year we did Aida, which was a musical that was set. It was set in Egypt. It was Tim Rice and Elton John did it.
Cool.
Great music. They were actually going to make it into a movie before Wicked went into production, and it was going to be basically about this king who kind of falls in love with she's like the slave princess of the slaves in Egypt, and she it was supposed to be Beyonce and Christina Aguilera as the two leads, and I don't know whatever
fell apart.
That was a good one. Following that, we really pivoted. We did a play set at an all-girls school in the 80s called Friends Forever. I was on crew for all of these.
Okay.
Because I was acting in the main like class productions, but I had kind of I gotten promoted as props manager, so I kind of had something to maintain.
Had so many responsibilities.
So I was maintaining props manager over the course of these 4 shows.
Okay.
Get to junior year, and I was things that people the upperclassmen left. I had secured an officer position in the Thespian Society. Really,
the Thespian Society.
And I was a assistant stage manager for our fall musical, which was Cinderella.
Okay, that's
people
a fun
weren't
one.
super jazzed about that one, but it was a really big cast and it was a lot of fun. And there weren't enough boys in the ensemble.
Okay.
So my teacher had to, she had all the boys who were on crew also dance in the ballroom scene.
Nice.
Because they did not want girls dancing with girls for the ballroom scene. Which,
it's
Virginia.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Not happening here.
Yeah, and they want so I got to go from wearing all black backstage to in the middle of the show. I had to go into the very dark prop room where I couldn't turn on any lights and change into all white, like scrub pants, white vest. And so that was really cool. I got
to go dance.
Do both. And I got to bow twice, which was really cool because I got to bow with the ensemble guys, and then I got to bow.
Oh, it's crew.
Yeah.
Okay, fun.
Yeah, and then after that we did Alice in Wonderland, which I
Okay, junior year had some classics.
Yeah, I had some classics, and that was really fun. Like that was one of the like kind of the peak of high school junior year where it was nice because I had been there long enough that I could look around and be like, all right, if I was stuck in an elevator with anyone here, I'd be fine. Like I knew everyone. It was kind of we've
made the connections. We've had a network here. Okay, cool.
And then a lot of shit went down in between the summer of junior and senior. 2 of the lead boys moved away. So when fall came around, we were going to do the play first, which was radical, and we'd also lost the woman who was our crew director who handled all the crew.
Damn.
We had a new person coming in, and we did Frankenstein as a play.
Okay.
And it was a very small cast.
As a musical?
No, it was the play.
As the play.
So we did the play in the fall, which was
switched that.
We switched.
So everything's going.
Yeah,
crazy.
Everything was going crazy.
We're going off the rails.
And I was sort of like, okay, I knew there were limited boys, and I told my drum teacher, and I had been assistant stage manager for those 2 productions, so I was sort of, in line to be stage manager as a senior.
Up here, yeah.
I had become the president of the Thespian Society. I was
wow,
really,
you went from officer to president.
Yep. And so I was, and I as president, I was like, listen, if I will serve the company better on cast, I'm willing to do the cast.
Dude, that's awesome.
And I was like, can I do both? She was like, no, you can't do both because other people are gonna, then want to do both.
Everyone's gonna be pissed. Yeah.
And so I auditioned, put great work into my audition.
You were going to be Frankenstein's monster?
I wanted to be something. I was thinking I was going to have a part with lines, but then I got cast as the monster, who had no lines. But I had a ton of blocking.
On stage all the time, though, right?
On stage all the time. I got to break through windows. I got to throw fake glass.
Cool.
It was very interesting, and it was also funny because having been on crew, you kind of have to set the example. I was shushing people. I was collecting phones all through junior year, and then cast. I'm like, oh wait, we can just fuck around.
I can do it. I'm talented.
As long as I'm on stage when it was talent. I basically I was hanging out in the green room eating Cheez-Its. It's
golden. Awesome. Yeah.
And then
damn, Frankenstein smile. Did you have the bolts in your neck, dude?
we went for more of a realistic look,
nice.
But I did I shaved my head. Like I really which my teacher was kind of like, he's not going to do that, and I kind of was like, yeah, whatever, you know, for the role. I committed.
I'm president of the thespian.
Yeah, and I had like really cool like fake scars.
Nice.
And yeah, it was a fun time.
Is there footage of this somewhere?
Oh yeah, it's you know, probably on my Instagram stuff.
All right, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. And then we did Grease for our musical in the spring, which Grease, but it was the school version because, you know, mind you, this is Virginia, so it was a little more. So
explain
in the school version. So I'm not super familiar with Grease, but
okay.
The school version.
Either. From what I understand, the original, there's a principal that hates dancing. Or no, this is Footloose. That is Footloose. Grease is, you know, John Travolta. Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, he's cool. Danny Zuko.
Yeah.
Grease Lightning. Tell Me More. Summer Lovin'.
Tell Me More.
So yeah, in this there was not a lot of Summer Lovin'.
Fixing cars. What's he doing?
Yeah, the Greasers, they fixed cars.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, they were always working on cars.
So they toned it down for school.
They toned it down, so, you know, like,
no Summer Lovin'.
The Summer Lovin' was kind of like, you know, they held hands for a second maybe. There's no pregnancy scare. It just wasn't, you know, there was no.
You took the edge off.
Yeah, you took the edge out of like the high school in the 50s where it was supposed to. So it just wasn't good. And I went back to being stage manager, which after having been on cast and having no responsibility, back to being in charge.
It's whiplash a little bit.
It was whiplash. You know, there was some, you know, it was end of senior year. So, you know, there was
you
some.
would have made a good Danny Zuko too.
I can't sing. I could have been in the ensemble probably and just, you know, hung out and had fun. But yeah, it was sort of a. It was not my favorite way to have ended it, but it was a great run. 8 shows
in reverse, right?
Yeah,
would have liked to go out as the monster.
Yeah, going out as the monster would have been cool. But yeah, you know, it all worked
Grease
out
was
well.
Cool. Okay, so you're doing, and then what do you? And then college? Are you like, I want to go to theater school?
I really had wanted to do. Like I'd always been into movies and TV since like 6th grade. That's kind of, you know, but like my school didn't really have a film program, so theater was kind of the closest I could get to that. But anytime we had to like make a commercial for any of the musicals, like I did all that. I was, you know, I whipped out iMovie on my laptop and, you know, chopping it up.
Find
totally.
whatever friends.
I made like the senior slideshows. I did anything, you know, IT related. I
got
kind of fell on my shoulders. But yeah, I went to Savannah College of Art and Design.
Cool.
Which I went to a very competitive high school. Like if you weren't in 9 APs, you kind of were like. What are you doing?
What are you gonna go work at McDonald's?
Literally, yeah. Arby's was really the one that we said. Because, you know, McDonald's I think at least is a little more efficient. Like the Arby's in my town was like just a disaster. It's just one guy.
It's funny you had to.
They were always out of the milkshakes.
APs, you might go to McDonald's.
Yeah, you might go to you might have hope. But
milkshake machine always down.
No, yeah, it was.
So you weren't going to Arby's though. I
was not going to Arby's because you go through the drive-thru and you'd wait for like 30 minutes and finally someone would saunter over and I guess take your order.
Oh, okay.
But I went to art school, so I was like, I'll major in film and I'll go to this art school because I basically was like, my teachers were telling me like, if you can't handle, you know, regular college prep level biology your sophomore year, you're going to die in college. And I took an AP psych class and I had to drop it because there were all these note cards. It was so much very stressful. And I kind of was like,
a lot to put on a high schooler, and most of it I think is like them just trying to scare you, you know, which I think is valuable, especially for some kids. But I remember sitting there being like, you know, definitely, especially like freshman, sophomore year when your teacher's like, people aren't going to do shit for you anymore. You're not going to
amount to anything if you can't, you know, do your, which I always did my homework. Like I was always a rule follower, but I would get behind and then I'd get anxious and then I'd get more behind.
And I just remember being like, man, is it really as what they're talking about? Like, are they? And I don't know. So I think it's probably different.
I picked this school because I was like, I looked at the requirements because language, very hard for me.
Okay.
You know, Spanish was no bueno.
Nice. That was good though.
Yeah, it was not. It
but
was.
You didn't want to take a foreign language.
No. And I kind of was
That's
like.
my least favorite part of college as well.
Yeah, and I looked at the math requirements and the science requirements, and I was like, oh, this art school, I literally don't have to take anything. And I was like, oh, I can. But to be a film major, you had to take like 3D design, you had to take drawing, you had to take all these foundational art classes.
Savannah College Art and Design, you gotta have to take some.
Oh, some serious thing.
Did you draw or anything?
So it turns out it's a lot easier to BS your way through Bio 101 than it is 3D design and principles of that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it was they did quarter systems. They didn't do semesters, so it was you'd had 3 10-week quarters. You took 3 classes. They were 5 credits each.
Kind of fast paced there.
Very fast paced. If you missed more than a certain number of classes, you had to automatically withdraw it. But it was like so fast. Like the people who stayed there that I was friends with, for some people it really worked, but like it was not like a super social school. It was very kind of spread out across Savannah. It wasn't like the sort of college experience. Yeah, and so
And did you
a lot of
want
film
that?
bros.
Okay.
A lot of people.
Like Citizen Kane, like
Citizen Kane, exactly.
French
yeah.
New Wave.
No, literally, I had a guy tell me, like, if I hadn't seen Citizen Kane, he told me, like, Steven Spielberg famously has a list of movies that he requires people to have seen before he hires them. And I was, first week of my freshman year, and I was like, all right, well, if I
want to do this.
If I get the interview, I guess I'll watch Citizen Kane. I still, to this day, have not seen Citizen Kane. I will when I win some major award. I will finally sit down and watch Citizen Kane.
I mean, I do think it's like, I think it's a good movie. I think it's
I'm sure it is. It just has been ruined by that one person. Like, now it's a joke. Like, the fact that you said Citizen Kane really it was perfect.
When you don't have 18 of the most annoying dudes ever being like, you gotta watch it. It's
and also,
way better.
I graduated high school in 2017, so this was still, early days of peak TV. So TV was very kind of much looked down on, and I had kind of started as a TV guy, went really into movies, and then sort of when I was my freshman year, I kind of didn't have any sort of preference, and then didn't like Savannah, left.
Okay, where'd you go?
Well, I went to the Atlanta campus for one semester, kind of as like a Hail Mary. In between, I went back home to Richmond. I was waiting tables. I worked at a pizza place. I worked at a brunch place. I kind of had the two restaurant job hustle, and I was taking some online classes, which I took a psych class, which, I mean, this psych class my junior year of high school caused me so much. I was like, psychology's impossible.
This is ridiculous.
I took it. It was online. I learned some very interesting stuff. Got an A. I was like, oh, this didn't need to be as hard as it was.
Amazing if there's not
like, I do understand the whole
teacher.
AP thing. They do want to make it rigorous, but it just, to me, the subject seemed like, oh wait, this actually didn't need to be that complicated.
It can be explained very simply, actually.
Yeah, and so, but I mean, having gone to a really competitive high school and then having had kind of a troubled first semester experience, that 9 months where I was in between and I was home and I was kind of living like an adult, like I was working and I would go to class. My mom and I were kind of like excellent roommates at that point.
So
we didn't really see each other.
Yeah, right.
Like, I kind of just,
different schedules.
Okay. I took the trash out. She would take the trash in. It was very
nice. You figured out some of that work. Yeah. Nice.
And then I transferred to Hofstra University in New York, just outside of the city on Long Island, and that was great.
You liked Hofstra?
Yeah, and so I was there for 3 years after that.
Word, and you liked New York?
I liked New York. Yeah, I mean, I liked being that close to the city. Also, it was nice because you were so close to the city, but it was kind of like a college campus feel. Like, you could just walk around. Like,
nice.
SCAD was very spread out all across Savannah, and you taking buses and it's
Georgia,
dark. Yeah, it was a lot.
And you don't have to draw anymore at home.
No drawing. I have not drawn. And I haven't even doodled. I didn't, and I had one like physics of light and science class that I was supposed to take for my major, and I basically, like, I finessed my way out of that. I lied to one of my advisors and told him I had an internship, and it conflicted with that class, and I sort of snaked out. But like, I have avoided math so much, and I went to the first day of that physics of light and sound class that was just for TV majors.
Well, that's just like waveform.
It was I don't know, but it was taught by the most it was a class only for TV majors, and the professor taught it like it was a graduate level physics class.
We're gonna solve light.
Yeah, it was rough, but avoiding math and science has kind of been the arc of my entire education career.
My post high school career was also very similar. What class can I take? Going to check the box for those requirements that will allow me to do the least amount of math.
Yeah, but what was nice about transferring to Hofstra was I had done kind of all my general eds before that, so I kind of just took TV and film classes, stuff. So it was super fun. I was very just kind of insulated in that world. Like, I did not know very many people that weren't TV and film majors, but it was...
And were you doing like production?
Yeah,
like writing?
I was writing. I did sketch comedy and stuff.
Cool.
I produced a late night show. I hosted a talk show.
Cool.
It's about film and TV, which was...
So this shit's easy.
Yeah,
host a talk show.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I miss it.
Cool, man. Damn. Okay, and then your plan is to come out to LA.
Yes. So my senior year, my school did this like 10-day in LA program where we came out here and we met with a bunch of alumni. It was super cool. And I already was pretty sold. Like, I knew I wanted to work in TV. TV's out here. But I was already 99% sure. And then after going for 10 days, I was like, this is great. I love this. And so I graduated in May of 2022, and I was out here. Yesterday was actually my 2-year anniversary in LA.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I was out here 3 weeks later. And
damn. Quick turnaround. You knew what you wanted.
It's funny. Like, I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything lined up, and I kind of just was like, I had a friend who was moving out here who had a job, so I at least knew, like, okay, we can get an Airbnb together and kind of figure it out.
You know, everything's out here.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of just needed to jump, but it's funny because I have friends who have since graduated or have since, the mulling. Like, I think the longer you wait to think about, like, oh, if I move, when, what time, like, I think I literally had everything packed up already, and I just was like, I just gotta go.
That's awesome. Yeah, it does. That was the hardest part for me. It was just the months leading up to the move just started to become painful.
How long after graduating did you move to LA?
About 2 months.
2 months. Okay,
2 months. And like I knew I was gonna do it, but it was just like I think it would have been easier if it was like graduate, say bye to everyone really quick, pack, move. Like I think that would have been. It would have been less mental stress. I think the prolonged stay, saying bye to everybody, it was just a lot.
Yeah.
And then so you make it out here. And then so you're at WME now. Can I say that?
Yes.
Okay.
It can be said.
I don't want to dox you or anything. And is that you weren't at WME right away, or you were?
No, I was out. So I moved here. I was in an Airbnb in Inglewood for 4 months.
Cool.
Because my friend was working at the NFL.
Oh,
and
sick.
We then had the most interesting landlord. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not that interesting to anyone in LA,
Sure.
but I mean, like, to have just moved from, like the small town where I was, and like where I went to school was kind of small town, a lot of nice local Long Island landlords.
Sure.
And this guy was just crazy. He
nuts.
had multiple properties. It was
nuts.
It used to be a record shop, and it was kind of like an above ground. You know the show Gilmore Girls?
Yeah.
You know how like Luke lived above his diner, but it wasn't a real apartment.
That's
kind of what our Airbnb was.
There.
So it was like
Okay,
there was an office, and it was very interesting. And so he was. We were there for 4 months, and then we moved downtown, which was interesting. I didn't know much of LA, but I knew I wanted in-unit laundry. That's a big thing.
You had to check that off the list.
And
you're gonna move downtown for it.
I lived downtown, and I still didn't have a job, so I was freelancing. I worked for an actor for a little bit part time, but it wasn't
as an assistant.
As an assistant, and it wasn't like it was a great experience. I just wasn't getting it. He didn't give me enough to do, so I was like reading scripts freelance, and then
Was he like what kind of actor?
An actor,
just like a film and TV.
Yeah, like a guy who was early on in his career and super nice, but it was just like it was a good thing to have on my resume.
Yeah,
and I
would I have seen any of his work?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
But then I was kind of hanging out, and I had a friend who had been at WME, and she had been like, do you want to do that? And I was like, no, I'm going to go the PA route. And then finally I was working at the restaurant. I was working at the Yard House in downtown LA, right outside of the crypto arena, which you really get to see a lot of LA working there. Cause you got the Lakers fans, you got the Clippers fans, also like anyone internationally who's traveling weirdly from like, they seem like they all stay in downtown LA.
They want to go downtown.
Like right in that area. Yeah. So the restaurant there, like, saw so many different types. It was a very interesting place to work, and I was just a host for 4 months there.
Cool.
And I left because I was only getting like 3 shifts a week, and it was like the first week in December, and I still didn't have a full-time job, and I was like, all right, I can just go home a little early. Like I'll be saving money if I go home now. But I remember walking out because I lived like walking distance from the restaurant at the time, and I remember walking out and being like, man, if I don't have to come back here in the year 2023, that would be great.
Be a great New Year's resolution.
And then I got hired at WME like January 6th. Not January 6th.
J6.
Yeah, J6. That's where I was. I was interviewing.
I was interviewing at WME. Yeah. That's good. Nice alibi.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's cool. Well, our mutual friend, Brooke Reinbold.
Shout out, Brooke.
Reinbold. Who,
Brooke and I are actually going to a party after this.
Oh, that's fun. Are you going to get crazy?
I mean, I don't know. It's like a 5 o'clock. It's kind of like a backyard.
Yeah, it's a professional.
Yeah.
Kind of a professional vibe.
Completely.
Well, Brooke, every time the podcast gets brought up, Brooke's like, when am I going to be on it? And then I'm like, you don't want to you tell me multiple times that you actually don't want to be on it. Whatever. But I asked her when you were coming on the show.
To record a message? No,
I wish. That would have been fun.
Sorry.
I was like, what kind of give me some clues about Paul? I'm sorry.
I'm honored.
I'm sorry.
He's a handsome son of a bitch. You know,
he is a son of a
honored to be confused.
I said, give me some clues about Ryan. What is he like? Give me something that I can base, because I like to do segments.
Oh God, I'm terrified.
This is part of broadening the show. I like to do segments. Don't be scared.
What does Brooke think of me? Like, I feel like I'm going to learn so much about how Brooke sees me.
All Brooke could really give me was just 3 things that you liked, which is kind of what I asked.
That's
and
good.
She said you were a fan of Twilight.
Twilight, yeah. We've been working our way through the Twilight movies.
Okay, nice. And I think I have seen all of them.
Yeah.
So I was going to do something Twilight-based. And then she said you're a big fan of the Scream movies.
Huge fan of the Scream movies.
So I was gonna do something. Do you like other horror slasher stuff as well, or really just Scream?
I mean, Scream was kind of the foundational one because they reference so many things. But I like all the Halloween movies. I like Nightmare on Elm Street.
And Matthew Lillard in there again.
Matthew Lillard, yeah. God, that was a real moment of like, oh my God, Shaggy from my childhood.
Yeah.
Is,
Whoa,
I don't want to spoil Scream for anyone.
Yeah, right.
But it came out in '96, so
So it's kind of past that window. Fucking watch Scream. But I realized I didn't really know, outside of like, Ghostface, Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy Krueger, and I guess Leatherface. There's a whole world of horror slasher villains that I'm not super familiar with.
Yeah.
And then she said Harry Potter was a big one.
Yeah, I do love Harry Potter.
And Harry Potter is something that, excuse me, I can. That's more in my wheelhouse a little bit. I think. Would you consider yourself like a big fan?
I read all the books with my mom when I was like a kid. And I saw all the movies. My brother read them. They were like a big part of my childhood. I've showed them to a couple people, but I think the summer before my senior year, one of my roommates had never seen any of that.
Okay.
And we sat down
she
and
went through watching them all.
But yeah,
cool.
it's such great storytelling, and like there's
beautiful world.
Such a fun world.
So I thought what we could do is, are you familiar with tier lists? Tier maker?
I am. Oh, this is exciting.
So this is what I've been doing lately on the show.
Okay.
Because I really like it. I think it's a great way to stir up some, conversation.
Absolutely.
And it's good. The fans love it. So we're going to do a little tier list.
This is exciting. Okay.
Of Harry Potter characters. How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling good.
Crowd's happy?
Yeah.
And I don't know if these are in any specific order, and I am going to need your help on some of these names.
Yeah, some of all of them look pretty familiar, but
right.
I might butcher a few.
Yeah, so I guess we can kind of just start. We'll just go through them all, huh? How does that sound? So this guy.
That's Oliver Wood.
Okay, and he's like the senior.
He's the senior who recruited Harry to play
Quidditch. Okay, cool.
But didn't do much after that.
Yeah,
but it was important. Like
after.
he did sort of set up Harry's.
And he's kind of like a nice.
He's a good guy.
He's kind of like a good example for Harry.
Yeah.
But a Gryffindor, but we don't really see. Oh, well, that's the other thing. What house are you?
I took it a million years ago. I believe I was Ravenclaw.
Okay.
But I think I took a quiz before it got really before it really caught on.
Yeah.
So I don't know where I
fix
in the new algorithm. I might land somewhere else.
Damn, we might have to do that too. Wait, fuck. Should we do that?
No, I'm enjoying that. I feel like I got a lot of things.
Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. So Oliver Wood, and I feel like we don't need to spend a ton of time on him. He got Harry on the Quidditch team, which is cool, but not much else.
Yeah.
And in terms of character, I'm thinking he's probably like a C, right?
Yeah, that's even being generous.
Maybe
honestly.
a D.
Yeah, I'd
just
because
of low impact.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's true. Let's not jump the gun here too much. And then this is James Potter, correct?
That's James Potter.
And
sort of, yeah. I mean, if you get into the birds and the bees, he's the reason we have Harry Potter.
Sort of, yeah, and really kind of a.
But we don't learn a ton about him. He's mostly kind of referenced and seen through flashbacks. But seemed like he was well liked by the people and
everyone has
was a leader.
Such good things to say about him, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking. What do you think? Probably C.
Yeah, probably C.
Yeah, I agree. I mean.
God, I guess
he's.
I guess we'll put him up high for now, but there's definitely some chance for him to be
dropped,
unseated.
I think we got to put him at S right now.
I guess, yeah.
The boy who lived, the chosen one,
yeah.
And he's. When I was like 9, 10, first get into Harry Potter, it was like I want to be Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be Harry Potter. And did
you ever go as him for Halloween?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
I got round glasses.
Yeah?
I got not full circles, but my mom allowed me to get as circular glasses as I could because I wanted to be Harry Potter.
See, I got reading glasses when I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade, and I did not like wearing them because I felt like I looked like Harry, because people called me Harry Potter.
I wanted people
Which
to
nowadays
call me Harry Potter.
I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, thanks.
But as a child, I was like, that's not who I'm trying to emulate.
I understand that. Yeah. And it is a little nerdy, but man, shout out Daniel Radcliffe's a fan of the show.
Oh, so really? Man of taste.
We shout out him for his
picks good projects,
Tony
picks good
win.
podcasts.
Yeah. This I believe
Mrs. Weasley.
Mrs. Weasley,
absolutely S tier.
Who is an S tier for me as well.
My God.
I love those Weasley parents so much.
Such a like just sort of the quintessential amazing. Didn't take any shit.
Yeah.
But
so loving.
Had the biggest heart.
And like I am someone that was spending a lot of time with friends' families as a kid, so I've always felt I love a friend's mom archetype. I'm watching Friday Night Lights right now.
Great show.
And like there's always like the Taylors always have like people coming
absolutely.
in. I love that so much. So Mrs. Weasley, a big one. You've seen Friday Night Lights? You big fan?
I have. Yeah. Love Connie Britton.
Anything
she
awesome.
Crazy to me, she's never won an Emmy, considering all the amazing shows she's been on.
Yeah. Well, I think I only really know her from Friday Night Lights now and like White Lotus.
White Lotus, American Horror Story.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, season 1. She started it off.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah. She didn't ever come back after that. She kind of
Yeah. Man,
she likes to leave shows, though.
Yeah.
She was on 911.
Okay.
Not that I watched that one, but she left that one. She was on Spin City with Michael J. Fox in the 90s.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Man, she is great. We got Lupin. Professor Lupin here. What are you thinking?
I'd put him A or B. I feel like he was a really kind of one of the first professors that leveled with Harry.
Right, and amongst Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers,
probably one of the least evil ones.
Probably one of the better ones they got. Yeah, I'm happy to put him at A for now.
Yeah, let's put him at A.
Yeah, I like what he came and did.
Peter Pettigrew.
This dude was a real freak.
See, that's the thing is like
this dude's a real.
How are we evaluating these people? It's like, oh, but I mean, like,
that's
as
the thing, because
like,
if you really hate someone, but in like a way that's an effective character, I think they have to be. You have to give him credit for that.
I mean,
but Pettigrew, I'm not even sure Pettigrew fits that. For me.
I think he's kind of the reveal of him having been a rat for a while.
That's
which, I mean, that was kind of hilarious.
Yeah, that was
the mob reference of he'd been a rat this whole time, spying.
Okay, I don't even know if I even knew about that little metaphor there. That's cool though. I guess I should have seen that. I always just figured like, no shit, this guy was a rat. Look at his fucking teeth.
Yeah, I mean, I'd put him down on probably C.
Okay, we'll put him at C.
Yeah.
I mean Hermione.
I don't know. Like,
for me, like I'm gonna have a hard time not having any of the core three as an S tier character.
Well, I said let's throw her up there. We can rank the main three.
Right. Yeah. We can once we really get a feel, there's so many characters here. Once we have them all on there, we can do some readjusting.
Okay. Good.
And I mean, Emma Watson as Hermione was pretty foundational for me as a child. Now, remind me this character's name.
I believe that is Fleora Delacroix. I might not be.
Delacroix, maybe?
Delacroix?
That sounds...
Delacroix?
Delacroix.
Heir to the LaCroix fortune?
Yes, exactly. Okay, you're absolutely right.
Man, if LaCroix had existed at the time of that movie coming out, they could have done such a good cross-promotion.
Could you imagine?
I mean, I guess they still could, the Harry Potter world.
Are they selling those things at Harry Potter Land?
I mean, they should. It's a good pun right there. I probably shouldn't have said that so publicly. I probably could have gotten them.
Well, you probably could. They could bring you on as a consultant.
Seriously.
We could be raking in the cash.
But as far as the character goes, not super.
Kind of forgettable,
kind of a D.
right?
I don't really.
In the movies, especially, they kind of just bring her in to be like, "Whoa, look, the hot girl school is here."
And then she marries one of the Weasley brothers.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, that was her wedding in the.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay. Now this is Moaning Myrtle right here.
Moaning
correct?
Myrtle, pretty iconic. At least a B for me.
Definitely sticks in my brain a lot.
Yeah,
I'm happy to make her the first B tier character on this list. She's fun, and she,
And like, that's what I really liked about all the Harry Potter. Like, there were so many characters that were so sort of seemingly irrelevant that at the end really came back in clutch. Like, she came back at the end and
you're like,
helped them find the thing. And
one of the Horcruxes.
Yeah, one of the Horcruxes was like hidden, and they found her, and
They're like, we're gonna need Moaning Myrtle here. Like,
we hadn't seen her in
moment.
forever.
Yeah.
She was still moaning, but still happy to help.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. I do like the ghosts. I tend to like the ghosts a lot. Moaning Myrtle would be okay.
Draco Malfoy,
young Draco.
God, I mean, sort of the anti-Harry in many ways.
Yeah.
You know, the path not taken.
Yeah, the nice yin and yang there.
Yeah,
what he could have been. And I, as much of a snotty brat as he is, I think I like his redemption from what I can remember at the end.
Yeah,
great stuff. And
I mean, he really had a hard life. He didn't really choose that life. He kind of was born into like, you're gonna have to want to kill this kid. When he too was just 11 years old.
A kid,
yeah.
Like that, we might like to hang. We might be Quidditch buddies.
Also, not to poke holes in your tier list, but it looks like we have two Draco Malfoys here. We got a young one and we got an older one in the middle there.
I'm seeing that as well. Maybe they did that on purpose.
I think older Draco Malfoy is probably in the A tier for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move old Draco into A. Yeah. And what
the little one was kind of, I don't know. Do we need to put him anywhere? I mean, he's fine. He grew into a better
We're gonna
man.
Put him in B.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're right.
The duality of Draco.
He is just there to like kind of just be a little bit of a bully to Harry.
Okay. Dudley, that fucker.
Dudley sucks.
Yeah, he's D just all around. Like, wasn't. I mean,
has that one moment in what is it? Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, where he's
like, dude, you're actually not that bad.
Yeah, and I think
like,
he just sort of, I don't know, but I mean, as far as obnoxious cousin, that was kind of all he was ever given to do, and I guess he did it, but he wasn't particularly memorable either way.
Right? It's just to be like, man, Harry's home life really sucks, right? Look at this douchebag cousin he has to hang out with.
Dumbledore, obviously S tier.
That's a no-brainer S tier, right? Is that like
not even,
if you could get, okay. I'm trying to think of how I want to say this, but in my head, if I could get advice from one fictional character, Do you want to take that on the air? We can take that if you want. I think it might be Dumbledore. If I could get fictional advice from one.
Oh yeah, I mean,
if I could get advice from
dude
one
was wise
character.
And seen some shit.
He was
using
he never
children
sort of as sort of like pawns in his little.
Yeah, but I mean, ultimately, it worked out well.
It did
work. He
kind
kind of knew the
world.
cost. He was like, these kids are either gonna die at the hands of this guy, or they're gonna die, fighting him. But one major hole that I always poked in the Harry Potter, if I may tangent for a second.
Please.
Like the paintings, like that was sort of one of my favorite elements, is that you could talk to the paintings.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And when a headmaster at Hogwarts died, they would become
a painting.
alive in a painting. And they did have moments in the last book where Snape was speaking to the painting of Dumbledore.
Yeah.
But I sort of just didn't understand why Dumbledore didn't just keep running the operation via painting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why they sort of were like, all hope is gone. I'm like, he's right there.
They go ask him.
Yeah, he's like we can talk to him.
Yeah, and do they ever, I mean, we're assuming it's just some kind of enchantment that kind of gets the
takes
general...
their essence or their spirit.
Yeah, exactly, the essence
Yeah,
of
but
their
maybe
advice.
they don't have all their memories. It's sort of like
they couldn't formulate exact conclusions or decisions or anything. That's interesting, though.
But yeah, I remember being like, I would wonder, because also I remember, when after Dumbledore dies, the shit kind of hits the fan. Things aren't business as usual in the magic world. So I kind of thought for a while, like, oh, maybe he just didn't get a painting. The guy who was doing that got killed.
Yeah.
That was his niche, and it's not happening. It kind of fell through the cracks. It's kind of like the statue. They weren't going to build that. But then towards the end, they show that there's a painting. I'm like, oh no. So in the midst of all this chaos, someone did make the painting, and he has been on the wall the entire fucking time.
That's funny. That is very funny. And like, I wonder if it's regular, like, is it just a watercolor painting that they do an enchantment on, or do you think they're using magical paint?
I feel like maybe magical, but I don't know. It's really fascinating.
I'd like to know. Now that could be a good spin-off.
No, yeah, or just even like what Dumbledore was saying, watching Snape during that could just be like a funny one-off like cartoon.
Could be a sketch.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good.
This next one, obviously,
this is Bellatrix Lestrange,
obviously
correct?
S tier. I mean, to me, Voldemort, obviously very iconic, but I think particularly like. It's hard to separate the books and the movies, but I think particularly Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix was just
oh my god,
all kinds of iconic.
Awesome. Awesome stuff.
God, what a satisfying
yeah.
And really she didn't show up until the fifth book and fifth movie, I think, and kind of was a really good kind of a jolt in the middle to add this really fascinating foil, and she had a lot of history with the Malfoys and Harry's parents, and really sort of the rules of improv. You don't enter a scene until you're needed, and I feel like Bellatrix entered right when she was needed and not a moment sooner.
That's a good point. And I just saw a BTS video from, I don't remember which one it was. I think probably one of the Deathly Hallows, where it was when Hermione drinks the polyjuice potion
and becomes Helena. Yeah,
and so it's Helena Bonham Carter
playing Hermione.
Yeah, rehearsing to be Hermione. It was a really cool video.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Okay, Cho Chang.
I think kind of had the important role of making Harry kind of
become a man.
Yeah. I mean, that was off screen. I guess. But
you
know what I mean? She kind of ushered them past the boyhood into teenage.
I totally agree.
Life.
He's I feel like, because Order of the Phoenix, I haven't read the books in probably over a decade now, but I remember Order of the Phoenix being my favorite, and I remember being like, oh, I think it's fun to see Harry kind of
kind of dating around and also he's a handsome man, and he's also famous,
the most famous.
It's kind of
ever.
Surprising that there weren't more girls throwing themselves. Although I guess he was cursed. They probably thought
I don't want to die.
But Cho Chang wasn't afraid.
No, dude, which is dope.
Yeah. I feel like in the movies, just probably by the nature of the movies, her character didn't really get to do as much. But I'd put her B or C. We can do B. Because she was really instrumental in Dumbledore's army.
Yeah, let's call her B.
She kind of was rallying the younger kids.
Yeah. All right.
Talk about another good villain here.
Dolores Umbridge.
I don't know about you. I was completely convinced the entirety of the fifth book movie that she was a Death Eater.
Yeah.
She was so evil.
She's the worst.
And then you just find out she's just this fucking bureaucrat.
Yeah.
Who's got the ministry,
right.
Whatever was there a constitution in the Ministry of whatever that was,
some legislative article or whatever.
She just had that shoved up her, she just really believed it.
Yeah.
And she had photos of the minister. I mean, she just was
great villain, and everyone had a teacher at some point that. So when you're a kid watching that, you relate to it, you connect with it so instantly.
I will say my mom's name is Dolores, so she was not a fan of this character being so hated.
It's tough, and I feel like at post Umbridge, Dolores became a name, and you're just like, oh, Dolores.
You know who that is.
That's funny. Okay, what do you think? I'm kind of feeling A.
I'm feeling A too. Yeah,
I'm feeling A. Okay. I don't know if this is Fred or George.
Yeah, that was my problem. I say Fred and George, both solid C's to me.
Okay, really?
I mean, I can't tell you one from the other.
That's true. Is it the same actor or is it twins?
I think they were twins.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I feel you. The thing is, I just love them so much.
We can go B.
I kind of want to put them in B because they're so
funny.
They
were very important. Yeah, they were good comic relief. They were, they were pseudo leaders for Harry,
Yeah.
Deferring to their nonsense. I love that they didn't take anything seriously, even when things were really hitting the fan.
That's what that may have been the most Harry Potter spoilers coming up when George gets hit in 7.
That was tough.
I think that might have been the most emotional I was in any of those movies.
Yeah.
And that made me realize oh man, I really loved every time they're on screen before this. They're just so funny, and I just love them.
Yeah,
and
they were businessmen. They started their own. They kind of really leaned into their niche.
Enterprising men, yeah. And Marauder's Map was them, right? They found it. They found it,
but it was Harry's father and Sirius Black.
That's right. That's right.
But yes, they were the sort of. I think they were probably they were kindred spirits with Harry Potter's dad. They were up to no good either.
I love it. I'm happy to put him in B though, especially.
Yeah, I think B is good.
All right, what do you think about Ginny?
What do I think about
personally? Ginny? Never was a huge Ginny Weasley fan.
Yeah,
personally,
I think it was funny with the Weasleys in particular. Like, I think especially going back to Fred and George, like in the book, in the movie, like statistically there were so many Weasleys. If at least one of them hadn't died, it would have been unrealistic to the carnage that was happening among
the sheer numbers.
There's no way all these Weasleys are coming out of this alive.
The luckiest family in the world.
And so I sort of feel the same way about Ginny and Harry coming together, because it really did sort of just feel like, okay, well, we have too much going on. We can't just establish another love interest here.
Woman.
But she did, she was taken into the Chamber of Secrets. He saved her. They were only like a year apart, so they really were peers kind of at the end there. Right. But she ran into the woods with Harry in the 6th one. So she
plays her part,
and also she's the youngest girl of. Right, yeah, there were no other Weasley sisters. She was the only girl. She's a survivor.
That's a good point.
The amount of she was using boys shampoo her entire life.
Getting
the Weasleys couldn't afford
God,
the amount of flannels she probably wore that were just her brothers,
worn through sweaters and shit.
Exactly. So I'd put her in the B tier, honestly.
Okay, yeah, I would have trouble putting over Fred and George, but I wouldn't have hated it. But I'm happy with B. Did you read Cursed Child? Was like the
I started it. I did not finish it, but I must, because that's you get
I
to
read
see
it.
her as
wasn't super memorable, but I do remember actually thinking okay, I like Ginny as a mom.
Yeah, you could tell cool. her story really probably began after the books.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Really, that would be a good spinoff.
Yeah.
What's Ginny up to these days?
Yeah, let's check it out.
Okay,
Ginny.
hard confession here. Despite my fandom as a Harry Potter person, I have never seen any of the Fantastic Beasts.
Me either, man.
This is phenomenal.
Me either.
All right, we'll skip this guy.
Let's put him in D.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
But we got to move them all at the end there.
Yeah,
just because,
right. We will. And wait, but we know this guy's
that's
name?
Newt Scamander.
Newt Scamander. You're absolutely right. Yeah. All right, this guy is the goat.
Dobby the house elf.
Dobby. Oh, when I said that thing about George, I may have been capping. The most choked up I may have ever been was
that. No, that was the one that got me. That was horrendous.
Just the absolute. You want to talk about loyalty?
Oh my god! And at the hands of Bellatrix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which again, so poetic, because he worked for the absolutely
for
throw him up there, right next to his.
Dobby's just. I don't have a bad thing to say about him.
Yeah, looks like we have another Hermione here.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, it's looking like this tier list was kind of compiled by some AI.
Yeah,
here.
It wasn't the most. I didn't do any double checks.
No, it's
either.
all good. Yeah, some of these I don't even know what they are, but
yeah, I don't know. We're gonna get to people that we just don't know at some point.
So yeah, I guess.
I guess we'll throw old Hermione up here
yeah.
too. Yeah. Oh, it was a PNG, no background. All right. Now this is Dean.
Dean Thomas.
Dean Thomas.
Yes.
Okay.
One of Harry's mates from his roommates
Gryffindor house.
Gryffindor.
Same year.
Same year.
I always thought it was cool that he was the only black guy in Hogwarts.
That's true.
I always liked him in the movies because of that. Mm-hmm. I feel like he doesn't really get too many moments from what I recall.
I mean, solid guy. I would put him.
He's in Dumbledore's army, right?
He absolutely is. Yeah, no. I mean, he never. I feel like who's the other fucker that lived with them? The other kid.
The Irish kid,
the
Seamus?
Irish kid. Was it Seamus?
Seamus.
Seamus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Seamus was a traitor. Like when they were writing shit about Harry and the Daily Prophet, like Seamus bought into that crap.
Yeah.
Because his grandmother was telling him.
Right.
But Dean, I don't think Dean kind of either didn't say anything and kind of just, played both sides, but he never turned on Harry. So for that, I'd put him in the B category.
All right, let's put him in B.
Sorting Hat, I went as the Sorting Hat for Halloween at a Halloween party in 3rd grade, and I won funniest costume because I just wore a black cloak and I had the Sorting Hat on top of me, and it was
nice,
phenomenal,
cool,
and also really, I mean, what a again, like, just along with Moaning Myrtle, like, just such texture to the world of like the Sorting Hat, fun. And this guy's seen it all, and he's a grouchy motherfucker, but he and he genuinely does want what's best for these
he wants
kids.
to have the kids in the best spots for them, and like when you're a kid, you want so badly to wear that Sorting Hat. You do, and get put fucking where you want to go.
And also the Sorting Hat, I believe it was in the second one. That was when Harry pulled the sword out of the Sorting Hat. Yep. So Sorting Hat came in clutch too.
Sorting Hat is dope.
So I'd throw him on B there.
B?
Yeah, I mean he's not around a lot, so I mean the argument could be made for C.
And he is like basically a plot device.
Yeah.
I'm happy with B.
B.
Now we got Mad Eye Moody, who I wanted to be for Halloween so badly.
I think you still can.
I can.
You kind of have the hair for it right now.
Right? Right? And I just was never able as a child to find the actual eye. But I think now
I'm sure Etsy has something like that.
Right. Now that I have my own disposable wealth, I can scour the internet and find it.
I actually did have the eye as a kid. It was like
so
a plastic.
Dope, dude.
I don't know where it is.
I'm
going home in a couple months.
So
I'll
you
look
bring
for
that
it.
back for me. And Brendan Gleeson.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
fine actor.
He's a real fine actor.
And also, like, I mean, Moody was just sort of, so like my journey with Harry Potter was interesting because I didn't read the books until after the last one came out. My mom and I read the books after my brother kind of finished them.
Okay.
But I had seen the 4th one in theater. Like, I saw some of the movies, so I kind of jumped ahead. But I just remember, my introduction to him being like, scary guy.
Yeah.
He's always drinking that, that potion.
Yeah.
And it wasn't pumpkin juice.
Flask, yeah.
But it's also, I also have a hard time separating Moody from who he actually was versus the impersonator.
Yeah, I agree because he
kind of went away after that. Like, he'd pop up and we knew he was a friendly face,
and we know he's like a war hero. Basically,
he's an aura. Yeah, he caught a lot of really dark wizards.
He's like what was his name? Never mind. But yeah, the most of the time that Brendan Gleeson is on screen as Mad Eye Moody, he's like undercover bad guy, and he's doing scary stuff.
Shit, and also
torturing the spider in class.
Oh my god, yeah,
scary stuff.
And he came in clutch there at the end in the Order of the Phoenix when they when they were making trouble. He showed up.
What are you thinking?
I feel like we're putting a lot of people in B, so I gotta.
I'm gonna even it out.
Yeah, I gotta say I don't know. I feel like he's not an A.
I do think he is hurt. I'm fine with putting him in C because he is close to my heart just because I thought he looked so cool.
Yeah.
But I think he's hurt, especially because I feel like you said, so much of the time we saw him in the movies, he's like not actually him.
Yeah.
So I'm fine putting him at C there.
Yeah. This girl, her name is escaping me.
I don't know her name either. This is
I think it starts with a P. Or maybe I'm wrong.
She's who like tries to seduce Harry.
Right? No, with Ron.
Ron.
She was, yeah.
That's right. When Ron's in like his little
he has
Hermione's
the love potion
like
or something.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me look up her name.
Oh God.
Ron Weasley, new girlfriend. What? Do you remember what movie that is?
6. I think it was in Half-Blood Prince. Lavender Brown. You know what? I was gonna say like. Yeah, I knew it was something. I like that her name is 2 colors. It's kind of hilarious.
What the hell is
Very
that?
clever.
Okay,
Lavender Brown. And she's wearing a lavender headband. That's
nice. That's a little nod.
Yeah, D for sure. Like, she was uninteresting.
I did not care about her.
I will say, I will give her the shout out that I think her presence did sort of, activate Hermione.
Yeah, that's nice. It was
there's something to be said for that.
She was missing out.
Again, like Dudley, like kind of was just a plot device.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. No need to spend any more time.
This guy.
This dude.
Sirius Black.
Big Unk.
Big Unk.
I mean, probably got to be S, right?
Got to be S.
Probably got to be S.
And like played by Gary Oldman.
God, what a great Oldman role.
Who I believe has not always spoken highly of the films, which seems on brand for him, but also kind of makes his character all like Sirius Black wouldn't have cared for the like if Harry's story had been monetized in the Wizarding World, Sirius Black wouldn't have given a shit.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. And, also, like, really, like, even watching the 3rd movie, like, I remember being scared of him, even though I knew he was good.
Yeah.
And that, like, talk about another death that really really hits you hard.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Gary Oldman really is.
Again,
great,
at the hand, or not. Yeah, no, Bellatrix kills him. Yeah,
I think
Bellatrix
so.
kills most of the Bellatrix does a lot of the
bodies.
a lot of the hard hitting deaths
here. Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, serious. I mean, just awesome. Who is this?
This is Narcissia Malfoy. I believe that's
that's
her
Mom?
first name. That's Mama Malfoy.
Okay.
Sister of
honestly
Bellatrix.
Don't remember much about her. Okay.
She was troubled that Draco was going down a bad path.
Really?
And at the end,
she doesn't want Draco to be a Death Eater?
No.
Type thing?
Well, she didn't want to go down that path. But at the end, she did come in clutch because when Harry was kind of playing dead, she was the one that walked over to like make sure he was alive.
That's right. I remember that scene.
And she asked him, "Is Draco alive?
And
Is he in
Harry's
the castle?" And Harry was like, "Yes." And then she kind of just kept her mouth shut.
Got it.
So she was, I think she ultimately, certainly was hanging out with some bad guys.
Folks, yeah.
And certainly didn't stop her husband from doing any of the killing he was doing.
But kind of an interesting, complex character.
Yeah. I mean, even that hair, like, that's a complex
hair.
Kind of, yeah.
What are you thinking, C?
Yeah, C.
I'm thinking C, I feel like.
C.
Okay. Now.
Grindelwald, we'll put him down.
This is
D.
Grindelwald.
Yeah.
And
right?
is that Johnny Depp?
That's Depp, yeah.
I didn't know Johnny Depp played Grindelwald.
He did. And then,
in the new movies or in the originals?
Grindelwald wasn't in, so he was, I haven't seen these movies. My understanding is Johnny Depp has a cameo at the end of the first one. He's in all of the second one, and then he was recast in the third one.
Okay, because all right, okay. Is Grindelwald the wand maker?
No, that's Ollivander. Obviously.
God damn. Okay, you're right. I was thinking Ollivander. What does Grindelwald do again?
I think he was started in that universe. Like I think.
He was an original character there.
Yeah,
okay.
like I don't know much about him.
Whose wand is the wand in the Deathly Hallows? Wasn't that somebody? That's not Grindelwald.
That wasn't.
Is it?
No, it was.
It doesn't really matter, I guess.
No, something of the brothers. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep moving. Lucius Malfoy.
Lucius.
I think Lucius. I don't know.
Maybe
the British might pronounce it.
This is also funny of the books. Like my mom has frequently joked that like when they first came out before there were movies, like she would talk to the other parents who were reading them, and people were like, "How the hell do you say these names?" So
I called Hermione Hermione.
They called her Hermione.
Yeah,
Professor Snap.
That's a fun one.
Diagon Alley instead of Diagon Alley.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, a lot of crazy names.
Yeah, a lot of shit.
Shout out to all those parents that were trying to figure out how to pronounce these extremely
this British nonsense.
Yeah. But Lucius Malfoy, honestly, like. Affected, but kind of just like to me, sort of like
yeah,
not a number 2, even like a number 3, really, like just a kind of a soldier of the Death Eaters.
Yeah.
Really was carrying that torch, even when
Yeah,
like, I will give him like he was committed, even when it was not popular.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah,
he stood by his horribleness.
He was standing on evil, standing on evil business the whole time, and like I understand, like I respect a like parental pressure character. I think that's a solid trope because it's real.
He did do. I mean, he put the journal in Ginny Weasley. Like he was trying to kill a Weasley child early on in her first year. Yeah. So actually for that I'd throw him on B because like he was.
We can make him B.
Yeah. I mean, trying to kill multiple 11-year-olds.
It's pretty fucked up.
He's pretty fucked up.
we would never do that.
No.
Hedwig.
Oh, again, another death that really.
Oh my god.
So sad. That's what I mean. It's like beloved pet.
They sneak up on you.
They really do. I think solely for the role Hedwig played in keeping Harry sane with those letters at home from Sirius Black.
Yeah.
Like. I'd put Hedwig in the A's, like because I think the printing press is important, and the male people are as well.
Yeah, exactly, and it's what's better than a good pet, Who's this?
That would be Lily Potter, mother of Harry.
Oh, okay, duh. Beloved by all who
loved
meet
by
her
all.
again.
I'd put her in C next. I'd put her next to her husband too.
That sounds good.
They were important. Very cute.
That's very sweet right there.
The snake.
This is the snake from In the Chamber, right?
No, is that the one from the chamber, or is that Voldemort's snake?
Oh, you might be right, because the one in the chamber is like a big serpent.
Yeah, that was a big,
huge boy.
Guy,
yeah, this is just Voldemort's pet?
I forget what its name. Narginia, I think.
Oh, you're right. That is its name.
Yeah. It is like I really like gun to my head. I'm glad I can still pull that.
That was
out.
a nice pull, dude.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you lavender brown, but
We got a Darginia. And what? Harry speaks parcel tongue to this thing at some point, or am I still thinking of
There's a lot of snakes.
That makes sense. Well, what do you think? I mean, I guess this guy's this guy's not very
fine.
He probably didn't even have to
crawled
be on the
across
list,
the table,
honestly.
and I think I don't think deserves to even be.
We could have
here.
put the goddamn hippogriff on the list at this point.
Yeah, seriously, the fucking mortars map did more.
Yeah,
than the
God,
snake
I would have
did.
put them. Yeah, that map higher. Okay, this
Filch.
guy. What was it? Filch.
Mr. Filch.
Mr. Filch.
Argus Filch.
And he had the cat that he's upset about.
Oh, Mrs. Norris.
Someone petrified the cat or whatever.
Poor Mrs. Norris.
Yeah, Mrs. Norris could have been on here over.
He was a cranky motherfucker, and
Yeah.
but again, dedicated to
But a
his
good
work
guy,
of
yeah.
those students not being out of bed. But yeah, he never really did anything important. Even right when the castle was being stormed. I mean, this was added for the movies. I don't think this is in the book, but when he runs in and he's yelling that the students are out of bed, and Professor McGonagall's like, "The shit's hitting the fan."
Yeah,
man."
dude.
But he stood by it. But for that, I mean, D. But you know, he was a squib. He couldn't do magic. So he kind of was living in this world where he really had no power.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool.
But yeah. This guy.
That's sympathetic. I mean, Hagrid for me, easy S. Tier.
Easy S, no question.
When you talk about
That, like, thank the good Lord they did not kill Hagrid. I don't think we could have.
that would have been major tears,
Yeah.
major waterworks.
That would have been one they would have had to do like before the 7th book, because he would have needed like a whole period to mourn him. Like you couldn't have just killed him off in the middle of it.
Not giving you a chance to. Yeah.
Like the Weasley brothers sad, but you're like, there's 6 more Weasleys.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
We lost George. We'll be good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Hagrid. Gosh, I mean, from the beginning of the first,
Yeah.
You're a wizard, Harry.
You're a wizard, Harry. I'm fascinated to hear what your take is on the next one here.
All right,
Luna Lovegood.
This is Luna Lovegood. Now, Luna Lovegood was definitely the OG alt girl.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like, whoa, she's a little different. I like that, and so that was, and I remember her playing a much bigger role in the books than in the movie, but I'm only remembering her in the movie, and she doesn't do too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think personally, she's a better character than Cho Chang.
For sure.
I'd probably give her A tier, honestly.
Okay, I'm glad you said A. So Luna's my favorite character.
Okay, cool.
And I actually named my dog after Luna Lovegood.
Cool.
Yeah. And I just thought she, especially in the books, I mean, the actress who played her did a great job, but like there were so many instances of the books of her just saying crazy shit,
being weird
among all the other kids being like, "What is this girl saying?" But again, came in clutch, was a skilled dueler, and she was ride or die. Like again, came in kind of late to the party and was weird, but she
injected a new
she stuck
fold.
She stuck by Harry and everyone.
Yeah, and
because she understood what it was like to be an outcast.
Exactly. Every squad needs someone to look at things a little differently, and I always love that layer, and I love Luna for that.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Nymphadora Tonks.
And she was also because when did we meet Nymphadora Tonks? Because I look at her similarly to,
I believe it was 5 that she showed up.
Okay, yeah. Again,
she was in the,
I know she's doing heavy work.
She was an Auror. She was catching, and I loved in the books and in the movies that her hair would change colors. Like that was
sick.
That to me showed that she was really committed to her work. Yeah, it wasn't about vanity.
Yeah,
and and then she got with Lupin, and they were married.
With Lupin.
That was a sad one.
Yeah, it was tough, but not. I don't think I would put her in A tier.
Yeah, I'd probably throw her in B. I feel like she was, and also like I think it's important to note that there were a lot of men running the show. Yeah. In the Harry Potter, or what were they? Not, it wasn't Dumbledore's army. That was what it was at the school, but whatever the leaders against Dumbledore that were meeting in the house, like Sirius Black's entourage. Like right. There was Mrs. Weasley, and then kind of who else was there? It was Tonks,
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
and I think she was younger. She was a single woman. She had a different perspective, and I think she probably contributed a lot at those meetings.
I agree. I'm happy to put her in B.
All right, now we're getting to some complex characters.
Now these are it's starting to get down and dirty.
I would say that. Yeah, I mean, I think Professor Snape is probably... Actually, I learned this recently. I don't remember from who, but Alan Rickman was the only one of the entire cast that kind of knew what Snape's arc was.
Yes, he was the only one that got to read that part of the script.
Like J.K. Rowling pulled him aside and basically because he had to know.
Right.
He had to know how to play those things.
Yeah. Cool. I think he's got to go S tier.
Absolutely.
Obviously so imposing, so intimidating, but like, yeah, once you learn the twist and you learn the end, it's like, what a cool character.
Smart man, a sad man.
Yeah.
Devoted to the cause to a fault.
Yeah.
And lonely. He was lonely.
So, yeah, really sad and lonely. Yeah, man, cool character. And Alan Rickman, God damn, what a force.
Such a force.
All right,
McGonagall, A tier for sure. I mean,
okay,
reliable. Didn't take any shit. Yes, but like could be trusted.
And a great matronly figure.
Yeah, and I think also like very kind of the model of what you would want a teacher to be.
Yeah,
she was fair, she was firm, and she believed in even the worst, like when those kids were fucking around, she was annoyed, but she knew they ultimately needed to fuck around to
and she knew how important they were. She knew, like, she saw the potential there, and that is that's such a cool thing in a teacher, to be like, you're gonna follow we're gonna follow the rules, but I'm gonna give you a little room to explore a little bit. McGonagall, I was always I had a soft spot for McGonagall.
Yeah. All right, this was Professor Quill. No. Is that his name?
I don't know. So the first Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, right?
Yeah.
In year 1. I do not know this guy's name.
It was like Corot, I think it was his name.
Googling it again.
Yep. Clearly we're not the only.
Nice. Quirrell. You're right in the middle. Quirrell. Quirrell.
He did seem kind of queer-coded.
Yeah, I was going to say. That seems
wearing
like
a purple turban. and
J.K. Rowling's hitting the nail on the head pretty hard with that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this description is actually pretty good. He's Harry's first Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher is unique in that, inadvertently or not, he is the first teacher to try to kill him. First teacher.
Okay.
So I think that did sort of set up early on that anyone who was new or old couldn't be trusted.
Yeah.
And I do remember, I don't know about you, but like the first movie, when I was like little, like before I'd even read the books, it did scare me. Like when he was taking the thing and
the shit in the back of his head.
Oh,
yeah, that was terrifying.
I think just for the weight he carried, he's definitely not D. I'd put him at C.
I'm happy with C as well.
I don't know what this is.
My guess is that this is Tom Riddle.
You think?
That would be my guess.
It looks like a fan art of Tom Riddle.
You're absolutely right about that. I mean, we can just throw him in D as well.
Yeah, throw him in D.
We don't know what the fuck that is.
All right,
here's the boy.
Weasley.
Ron, easy S for me.
Easy S, yes, of course.
I mean, if we could all have a friend like Ron, right?
Yeah, a good, like, I mean, I really think that there's a Harry Potter series upon us where they're gonna really
go Ron mode,
delve deep into this, and I think they're the fact that Harry, Ron, and Hermione really. They had little squabbles, but there was a point where Ron abandoned them. Like, I think that should have been more explored or more hinted at. Because, I mean, you really, again, second youngest child of all, he definitely was never the popular kid, even at home.
A ton of attention to.
And then he befriends the most famous guy in the world.
Yeah. No, I always thought that was super interesting stuff. Like, being like, I love this guy, he's basically a brother, a friend, but like, goddamn, it's kind of tough a lot of the times.
Yeah, and Hermione was smarter than him. Yeah. Like in that trio, he was he was not the strong. Like, he was definitely the weakest of the three.
Yeah, for sure.
That I'll stand by. Yeah. But solid friend.
You love this guy.
Yeah, to have a friend like Ron Weasley would be a great compliment to pay a friend.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe they get offended. They'd be like, "Dude, you're Ron.
Yeah,
I'm Harry." Neville Longbottom.
A tier.
I'm thinking A as well. Yeah. Obviously so cool, the stuff they do at the end, because what is it, forgive me if I'm sort of misremembering, but it's kind of implied that he could have been the chosen one.
Yeah, he could have been Harry. It was one of them, because Neville's parents were also Death Eaters, or not Death Eaters, they were against the Death Eaters, and they were and the prophecy was some
boy
child
on July 12th or whatever the birthday was. So I always thought that was very cool.
And again, had a hard, because he didn't lose his parents got kind of fucked up by Bellatrix again. Right. I think the through line here is Bellatrix actually did most of the
major damage
in the Harry Potter lore.
And I always thought the
good friend came into his own.
Yeah, huge, obviously
really big glow up too.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about a glow up.
Yeah, got a jawline there at the end.
Absolutely.
And the idea that, like, man, could have been you. What are you gonna do now? It's interesting to me.
Finnegan. D tier.
I'm gonna go D as well.
Obnoxious.
Kind of just
blow
there to,
hard. Just didn't contribute.
And silly little.
Like I know he joined Dumbledore's army, but it's 100% only because all of his friends were.
Yeah. So what am I gonna do?
If they had all been like, Harry, you're gonna get in trouble, he'd be like, yeah, Harry, you're a fucking moron.
I think you're right.
And this is Professor Trelawney, played in the movies by Emma Thompson.
Nice. And she teaches the what's it called?
Not the class.
It's like reading the future, basically, right?
Divination.
Divination. You're right.
Yeah.
Nice call.
I like that between both of us we can recall.
We can find it.
But alone I think we'd be lost.
Yeah. Where do you
kind of
think?
Inconsequential, but also I think like solely for the movies I'd throw her in C just because
I'm
an enjoyable performance.
Yeah, it's like fun to see.
It is worth noting that someone who's not on this list is Gilderoy Lockhart, played by Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah. Would have loved to have him on there. Would have loved Flitwick on here too.
Flitwick would have been. Oh, I love Flitwick.
I was a big Flitwick fan.
But just in the chronology of the movies, Emma Thompson was married to Kenneth Branagh.
I didn't know that.
And the reason they broke up was because Kenneth Branagh had an affair with Helena Bonham Carter. Not during production. Okay. This was years later.
Damn.
And they all didn't. None of them were ever in a scene together. But
wow, that is interesting.
I mean, like you will say about anytime I see a good British actor in some movie. Mostly like an older movie, it's usually someone who was in a Harry Potter.
Isn't that
movie.
interesting that so many just like
they really did call in all the hits for these parts.
Superstars of the craft.
Maggie Smith has won
she's a master
2
of
Oscars.
The craft, dude. Unbelievable, and they flame.
And also like a very smart move
wizards.
on all of them to then be cemented. I mean, obviously they were famous before that, but to be cemented in a whole new generation's minds.
I'll be a beloved character in the minds of you're millions and millions of people forever. And who was the what is it? Do they call it botany? What's like the flower? What do they call it?
Oh, Professor Sprout.
Yeah.
She was cool.
And she was like I saw her saying some stuff about like look, it's a kid's movie, but anyways. All right. He who shall not be named.
Yes, he who shall not be named. I don't know. I would. Part of me wants to say S, but I could also be okay with A.
I think he might, because he's not a very sympathetic villain, is he? I mean, what's his motive again?
What was his motive?
He kind of just is evil.
Yeah, he was really fascinated by the dark arts.
Yeah, he just got.
But also, I almost think that makes him a better villain because I think a lot of times we really need to delve into.
We need to sympathize
the psychology of
these. Everyone.
I'm like, no, it's okay. There can just be like a vicious evil.
This guy found evil shit and decided that he really loved it. a lot.
And also, Ralph Fiennes, a phenomenal.
But yeah, again, a powerhouse that just kills it. Okay, and. So remind me again, refresh my memory. I know Voldemort wants to take over the wizarding world. I know he wants to use dark magic to kill all the good guys. Is his plan after that to like just take over the world in general?
It wasn't really laid out. I think
enslave.
I don't think he was the most organized of leaders.
That's a good point.
I think that's why he was leaning so heavily on the Malfoys and Bellatrix to do most of the
actual work.
Yeah, but I think he was passionate. Really wanted to kill Harry the entire time. Really wanted to kill that kid. He stood by that. That was a hill he died on.
I'm happy putting him in A.
Yeah, I'll put him in A. I don't know what the hell this anime.
This appears to be fan art of some sort of.
I don't even know.
Elf.
Who
I think it's an
could
elf.
Be.
It looks like a hot female house elf.
You think that's? I don't. Hot is generous. I feel like I learned more about you in that distinction than.
I mean, I think they are. I mean, just
put him right next to Seamus.
From a pure artistic standpoint, if I'm just judging artistic choices, I think the artist wants us to think that that's a hot elf.
Yeah. All right.
There's our tier list. Let's do some quick reorganizing if we want. Just order.
For those of you at home, Hunter is currently taking a screenshot. Good placement.
Yep. Great screenshot, and let's get a round of applause for the official Hunter Davidson Radio Hour Harry Potter tier list.
Yeah. Have you done tier lists before on the show?
Yeah, we did fictional lawyers.
Oh, that's a good one.
In TV and film. That was a fun one. And we did ballpark food snacks.
Oh, I like that one.
That was a good one too.
Yeah.
So well, Ryan, we're at almost an hour and a half now.
This is amazing.
We've cranked out a fun podcast. Did you have fun?
Absolutely.
I had a great time.
So honored. We didn't get to talk about our origin story of how we've met. And,
yeah. I mean, it's really just like at parties.
Yeah. New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. That was a fun one.
And then I think you mentioned the podcast, and I think probably drunkenly I said I want to be on it.
I was like, let's do it, dude.
And then I saw Paul was on it, and I think I saw you one more time, and I gave you shit for it.
And I was like,
and then
set it up.
The last time I saw you, I think, was when we finally.
Yeah. You were like.
It was 3 times that we'd seen each other, and then
you
finally. We did exchange numbers the first time.
Yeah.
I didn't respond to you. I'll take full responsibility for that. But this third time, you know,
like, we're doing
as a host and producer, you really took the initiative.
I finally took the reins. Yeah. Thank you. I needed to hear that. And I would like to do maybe at one point a WME assistant supercast.
Oh, that'd be good.
Get
Brooke in
Paul
here. Get
and
Paul.
Brooke.
Oh yeah. Put Brooke in between me and Paul.
Oh my God.
That'll be gold.
I'm supposed to be freaking out the whole time.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be great radio.
Yeah.
All right, man.
This is amazing.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Not at the moment. Maybe next time.
I don't either. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. I'm going to play the theme song, and we'll see you guys later. Thank you.